Hi, my name is Dr. Felicia. I'm a licensed psychologist and owner of Skill Set Counseling, where I focus on the treatment of OCD, spiritual abuse, and cultural abuse and trauma. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about an issue that pertains to spiritual abuse or any other type of psychological abuse, manipulation, narcissistic abuse, gaslighting, anything that you feel has really messed with your emotions in an abusive way, right? So specifically, I'm going to talk about some things you can do when you feel stuck and how to get unstuck. And the way we're going to approach this is through journaling. I'd encourage you to look at my other videos where I discuss journaling and how it is a powerful tool in the recovery from spiritual abuse. So if you have something to journal with, like a pen, paper, or even if you want to do it in your phone, it's fine. So just go ahead and pause the video. And then I'm going to ask you to write down certain questions and reflect on them, specifically through writing if you can. But if you are in a position right now where you can't, think about the questions. And so the first question I'm going to ask you is that just to first of all, think about the situation right now that you feel stuck in. And it's related to spiritual abuse. So maybe you're in an environment that you are thinking about leaving, or you want to confront somebody, or whatever it is. Maybe it is a situation where you're just indecisive and you don't know what to do and you feel stuck. So just think about that situation and maybe just write it down in a brief sentence, right? With these journaling prompts that I talk about, it can be as long or as short as you want to, but I really want to focus on keeping it succinct, and then you can build out from that. So first question, what is the situation? Just describe it briefly in a sentence, right? And then the second question that I would have you ask yourself is, what situation does this remind me of? It could, and just think about something in your past where you felt stuck. Sometimes for a lot of people, it can go back to their childhood, but it doesn't necessarily have to be childhood. It could just be another situation independent of this in the past where you felt stuck. Okay. And if you are enjoying this video, please take a minute to like, subscribe, share, and comment. It would really help get this message out to other people who could benefit from it. So if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and do so. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I have the first two questions, describe the situation. Number two, a similar situation in the past where you felt stuck. And then the next question I want you to ask are, what are some of the similarities you see between both situations? For instance, if we give a hypothetical example of somebody, we'll call them, I don't know, Julie or something. So maybe Julie is in a situation where she, wants to confront somebody in a spiritually abusive environment or any other type of environment. Maybe it's just toxic relationship, whatever it is. She wants to confront somebody and she's stuck because she doesn't know what she should do. Should she confront? Should she just let it go? Should she write a letter, a call? All these questions. So Julie if she was doing this, she would write out the situation, and then she would think about a situation where she felt stuck in her past. And maybe that situation, she tried to confront somebody and it backfired, or maybe she felt, too shy or too timid to speak up about it, or she just didn't feel secure enough to do so. So think about a situation, again, that parallels a situation that you're in right now. And how are they similar, right? So the next question is, how are they similar? And then the next question I want you to ask is, why you feel stuck in this particular situation. What is it that you feel is getting in your way, right? It could be a lot of things, but just think about, what do I feel stuck? Like, what is making me feel stuck in this situation? What are maybe some barriers you think that you can't overcome? Take a minute to list that down. And then the next question I want you to ask is, how have you changed from the past situation to now, right? At the heart of this question, you want to understand how these situations are different, right? Maybe the situation that reminds you of the stuck point now happened in your childhood. So you could talk about, well, I'm physically older now, and talk about the other things that you feel have changed for you in that situation. And that's really important because, we could change physical environments, but psychologically and emotionally, we also have to change as well. And so, I'm sure if you are the person, if you're watching this, you are likely somebody who is dedicated to, maintaining and improving your emotional health and well-being. And so think about what's different. If Julie was doing this, she would say something like, well, she's older now, she has more confidence, she has more agency, right? And so as you are comparing the situations, I want you to really highlight what is different about you. And not only what is different about you, but things that, I guess, increase your agency and increase your amount of control over the situation, right? So if somebody is thinking about something that happened to them in their childhood, they could not physically leave, right? But in this situation, as you are older and more independent, then physically leaving could be a choice that is available to you. So think through that and think through the changes that you've made that give you more agency in that situation. And then the final question you want to answer is, what choices are available to you right now? When we feel stuck, we get tunnel vision, right? And we think that there's nothing I can do, or I can only do A or B. We become very rigid, right? And I think part of that may be due to a modification of a fight or flight response. And many people who've been through spiritual abuse or other types of emotional abuse have gone through similar situations. And so you may be accustomed to being in that fight or flight tunnel vision, right? Where you're not really seeing anything around you. You're just focused on getting out of there. And so I want you to think about, now that you're journaling about it, or now that you're thinking through it in a purposeful way, you can list different situations and different choices, not situations, but rather choices that you have at the moment. And you don't even have to make a decision, but the whole process of doing this helps you understand that what happened then does not have to repeat itself and happen now. And again, this is, it can be challenging. I really understand that it can be challenging. And this is a way of helping break it down. For some people, I think for a lot of us, it's really challenging to just react in the moment, or feel like we are doing things in a purposeful way if we just have to answer something on the spot or make a decision on the spot. And what this does is it gives you time to think and to process, and also expand how you view that situation, and instead of feeling stuck and limited and closed in, you feel more expanded. And I also want you to note too, as you're doing this exercise, how you're feeling in your body. When people have been through psychological abuse, they really can have a very difficult time connecting to their bodies. And so as you do this exercise, think about how you feel just as you're doing it. Do you feel, when you have the choices available to you and writing them down and seeing how you're changed, do you feel maybe an expansion in your body, maybe feeling less heavy or tight? Just take note of that. That's an interesting thing to pay attention to. And so I'm going to go over the questions again. The first one, what is the situation that you feel stuck in? Write it down briefly, a few sentences, right? And then the second thing you want to do is think about, the second question is, what does this remind me of in my past, right? And you want to write that situation down. You also want to, for the third question, want to ask yourself, well, why do I feel stuck now? Once you answer that, you want to ask yourself, how have you changed from the past to the present? And how are the situations different? So the main question is, how are the situations different? But I want you to really focus on how you have changed for the better as you have progressed from the first situation to the next one. Really highlight your agency, really highlight your strengths. And again, when you've been through any type of psychological abuse, it can be hard to access that because maybe you've been given a load of critical messages or no affirmation or, emotional support. But, just take your best guess and just look at, well, how have I changed, and answer those questions. And then the last question is, what are the choices that I can make? Again, this is not to help you make a decision, but rather expand your focus and help you figure out that there may be multiple ways to address a situation and have you thinking about what you can do instead of what you can't do. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And then I'd also like to hear from you in the comments. Did you do this exercise and what was that like for you? And also if you have any tips for people who are feeling stuck, please share them in the comments. I really appreciate that. I hope you have a wonderful day that is filled with peace and joy. Bye-bye.